A celebrity case with shocking twists. A criminal case with real-life consequences.
She was sentenced to 18 months in jail.
I think she is going to do it again.
We don't usually do this sort of thing because you're not actively being catfished. You're not in a relationship with someone on the internet. You're the sort of past victim of a catfishing.
Yes, I'm worried about, other people getting catfished by her because she's good at it, obviously.
Now that she's out of jail, I'm really scared. And I'm hoping you guys will make sure she's not going to do it again.
Because it would protect a lot of people from having to go through all the...
So, at that time I was 17 years old, still in high school, and had been a Birdman fan, and I liked his Facebook fan page. And then I got a friend request from Chris Anderson. We would text day and night.
But never talking on the phone.
Never talking on the phone. Then it moved to flirting, and then it moved to the photo sharing. Sent me selfies of himself in the mirror, and I'm sending him full nude photos.
So what's crazy looking back is that Shelly was obviously the one who was sending them to each of you.
And then I ended up getting a friend request from this guy, Tom. He told me he was best friends with Chris Anderson and his brother-in-law. That's what he always called himself.
I'm getting the feeling that Tom is really Shelly.
Yeah. Tom's always texting. Chris wants you to come fly out there. So I talked to Chris a little. I was a little iffy, and then he said, I got your ticket, and he emailed me the ticket.
So so you get to Denver.
I get to Denver.
You text him, I'm here.
And he said, okay, I'm coming around.
So you actually texted Shelly, I'm here, and then she immediately texted Chris and said, I'm here, pick me up, and then he texted.
It was like
That's crazy.
So then we get to his house.
Okay.
Then we started talking a little, and I said something like, well, Tom said, and he said, who's Tom? And I said, Tom.
You're your best friend.
And he was like, no, I don't.
So weird.
And then he was
and
all...
in your mind, you're kind of like freaking out.
I was like, okay, he's just doing it to mess around or something. And I remember he's all, you brought Victoria's Secret to wear, and I said, no, I didn't, but okay.
But you weren't like, wait a minute.
No, it crossed my mind to think that's a little weird, but...
At the time, you weren't piecing it together.
He's right there, so what does it matter? Then I played with his dog for a while, and then we sat down and we talked a little more, and then, if you ended up kissing, you ended up kissing. So after that, with Chris, it was really good,
You guys really liked each other.
Yeah, and then drove me back to the airport.
Was there talk about okay, well, I can't
there
wait
was
to see you
a
again.
next time, yeah. So it was all nice, ended nicely, and then I went home. And then Chris and Tom were obsessed with Call of Duty, right? This Xbox. There's this talk of this guy that Tom can't effing stand. I forget the name of the guy, but he lived in Indiana. The guy was beating him at his game.
Beating him on Call of Duty?
On Call of Duty, and he couldn't stand it. So they wanted to set me up to fly to Indiana to go steal his game account and password so they can hack in and break it. They were both going at me. I got pressure, and they were going crazier and crazier, and Chris was offering me purses. I went back and forth on it because I was getting so pressured I couldn't stand it. And then I said, I'm not doing it. It set them off. The Chris and the Tom were saying, I'm gonna send somebody down there to rape you and kill you and throw you on the side of the street. And that's when I just turned off my phone an hour later. When I turned that phone on, as Chris Anderson, she said, I'm gonna post your nude pictures. Go to this link, go to this page, go look right now. So I click on the link, and there's my pictures on a thread. Look at this whore. She was writing my address and my number, and my mother's number, because I had texted it off my mom's phone too.
Whoa.
And I was like,
are people calling?
Like crazy. Somebody called my mom's phone, was whispering, you're so beautiful, over and over and over and over. We had to focus on these pictures at that moment, and that's when we called the cops.
Essentially, you're accusing Birdman of child pornography.
How did you feel towards Chris when you found out that?
I felt really bad. People calling him a pedophile, it's just sick to me. What she did to me and Chris, she tore up our lives.
And she wasn't even in jail for very long based on kind of all the damage she did.
Yeah. Now that she's out, I would bet my life on it she's gonna do it again.
When this story broke, it was tragic. For a second, I was like, oh no. What is he, messing around with 10-year-olds and 9-year-olds?
Because they didn't give details.
His tattoos weren't the only thing that contributed to Chris Anderson's bad boy reputation. In 2006, Chris Anderson was suspended from the NBA for 2 years for violating the league's drug abuse policy. He did his best to clean up his image. He went to rehab and even dedicated tons of time to volunteering with kids. He became a real hero in the community, on and off the court. Which is why when the public heard he was suspected of crimes against children, the news hit hard.
And now he's like damaged goods.
Right.
Nobody wants to pick him up.
But no concrete charges were brought. He's just being investigated.
And then it's broken that, in fact, it was some strange situation with a woman in Canada.
But it never went away. There wasn't like the equivalent of the news breaking. There wasn't that equivalent of admonishing him and saying he's in the clear.
We need answers, and we're hoping Constable Gord has them.
It was amazing what she had amassed, like the amount of email addresses, which led to social media accounts that she would use to reach out to people as whoever she wanted to be.
How does Tom play into this whole story?
He is one of the personas that Shelley came up with. There was a woman from Texas that she connected with as him. They were in love and in a relationship for a number of years.
Wow. After befriending the woman as herself, Shelley then seduced her using the Tom character. Once the woman had fallen for Tom, Shelley used Tom to manipulate her to serve as a point of contact in Shelley's blackmail schemes. When Shelley was blackmailing Chris, she ran the money through the Texas woman so Shelley wouldn't be traced.
Shelley, as this male persona, really put this Texas woman through an emotional ringer. And when we showed up there and told her, look, you were talking to Shelley Charche, she was devastated. It was like we were telling her that somebody had died.
So she hadn't figured it out?
No.
Wow.
Shelley was sentenced to 18 months in jail, and there's an active arrest warrant for her out of Colorado seeking her extradition.
How harsh would the sentencing be in the U.S.?
Anywhere between 24 to 48 years in jail.
Wow.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
Can you potentially introduce us to Shelley?
Yeah, for sure. I would be able to try to hook you up in speaking with her.
I thought you were talking to this woman in Texas as Tom.
I'm always talking to her as myself. I never talked to her as Tom.
Never.
Never.
Where would she even know about Tom, the Tom
She
Taylor
knew
thing?
about everything. One morning, I seen on the news where Chris's house got raided. And he just looked really bad.
And so what did you feel when you saw that?
Really bad and scared. For him and for me. That's when I started freaking out and I said, what do I do? My friend, the Texas woman, said, delete the app and they can't trace you. But they dug deeper and found me.
The most interesting thing for me to hear is the difference in your story about this woman in Texas versus the way the police describe her involvement. She makes it sound from her interviews
Like
with the police.
she's a victim? I don't believe she was a victim.
In fact, she was sort of an active participant.
Yeah. She tried to get $10,000 from him, and she admitted that to the cops.
That's true, and this woman from Texas was trying to get you more money. Was that because she thought she'd be getting some of it?
Oh, she did get half.
You were gonna split it.
We did.
They did split it.
You did split it.
Yeah.
And
But
was
she said that Tom
Made her do it.
manipulated her into doing it.
that would mean that a vast majority of the charges that you actually did plead guilty to
Do you
were
know why I
shared
pled
were
guilty?
shared with the Texas woman.
I pled guilty because I was pregnant at the time, and my husband was here. I was gonna fight this in trial. But I was told, if you plead guilty, we will get you house arrest. And then I got 18 months. Then I had a miscarriage.
Oh, that's terrible. Sorry.
Can I ask you one more question? Why did you do it?
I don't know. It's just, I kept doing it, and I don't know why I did that. I'm stupid. I'm really stupid. I blamed her for the first few months in jail. Like, I really hated her. I blamed the cops, I blamed the judge, I blamed my lawyer. But I realized that I can only blame me. And then when I got out, people kept asking me, do you think about it? Have you thought about it? Do you think about it?
Just like I'm asking you now. And it's annoying.
Very, you know? Everybody sees me as a villain.
Do you feel like it's fair that people think you're...
I honestly feel like it doesn't matter what people think about me anymore because I don't have the right for people to feel sorry for me.
So let's just assume all of this does blow over and go away. Like, what do you want to do with the rest of your life?
Have a kid. I want to have this kid.
So it's safe to say you're never going to Catfish again?
Yeah, definitely not.
All right, guys. Well, that's it. for us.